Nigerian population is estimated to reach around 50 in the year 2050. Many will say that large number of persons will be in the urban area rather than the rural area. But what plans have already been put in place to ensure that we do not end up having issues of disaster, especially in the urban areas, is a big question that we'll be dealing on later. But for now, I want to quickly welcome you to Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. I'm Michael Gobadia. It's another lovely time for us to be together on this lovely platform and do what we always enjoy doing, and that's trying to make your day truly enjoyable. And the best way to do so is indeed to start your morning in the right note. And that's what we'll be doing today. Like you do know, a rundown of what we'll be having. The papers will come first, and after that, I will definitely talk about dialogue. And dialogue today, just like my introduction, will be looking at urban planning and how it seems to also, in every way, affect the issue of flooding, especially in our major cities cut across the country. Well, that will take a critical point today on the show, and most certainly trending will definitely come. That will be immediately after the news roundup. But for now, let's go on the break, and when we come back, like I said, the papers will be next right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Like I said, the papers is what we're having now on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. And for review today, we have 5 papers. We have the Vanguard, the Punch, the Guardian, This Day, and most certainly the Nation will be wrapping things up. But let's see if we start first with the Vanguard and see what the Vanguard has as a major one, especially on its front page. And on the Vanguard this morning, the leading story reads, micro-zoning stirs tension in PDP. And we're talking about the 2027 elections. Opposition prospects brighten as INEC recognizes David Mark-led ADC. Jonathan Kwankwaso deepening negotiations, especially as there's a push for him to come back and be the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. But I implore you to get more of that stories on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's see if we take some other leading stories, especially at the top, my side. A blackout, businesses suffer as National Grid collapses again. And page 19 has that story. And I know a whole lot of persons will be wondering why there are blackouts, especially in their areas where the National Grid seems to have collapsed once more. And also on page 19, 2024 budget, 80% implemented. And this are credited to the Minister of Finance, Edu. Netanyahu must be brought to justice. Qatari Prime Minister vows, especially after the attack on Hamas leaders in Qatar. But I'll tell you to take more of that story on page 9. But on a page before page 9 is federal government now introducing new tax, says Oyedele, and that you can find on page 8. Also on page 8, NCAA orders airlines to blacklist unruly passengers. And no surprise with the strain of events that seem to have happened, especially as it concerns the issue of passengers and airline personnel having a go. But anyway, let's see if we take some other stories. Yes, beneath the picture of the day. EFCC drills ex-NNPCL boss ARE over $7.2 billion United States dollar refinery fraud fund and you can get that on page 6. Senate must allow Natasha back, say ADC, ex-Kaduna AG Jacob. It's 16 more of that story on page 9. 100 million naira model Green State Award as First Lady Oluremi Tinubu declares. Wow. You to get more of that story on page 36. Well, a sad one, many Nigerians will say, and that's on page 40. Sports, we're talking 2026 World Cup, blame NFF, Chile for Eagles' woes. And this is according to Kojo. Well, anyways, we're really not happy things are turning out, especially as it concerns the World Cup. We might qualify or we might really not go to the 2026 World Cup. But anyway, let's leave that sad note and look rather at the picture of the day. And you can see all smiles as Tinubu had the lunch with Macron. And we're talking about the French president, and that was yesterday. Well, anyway, I don't know. All I'll tell them is Bola Party, and let them see how they enjoy themselves. But anyway, that's the much you can this morning. And the next paper for review will definitely come up. And the Punch it is then. And on the Punch this morning, well, it looks as if a whole lot as it concerns politics seems to be in the air, especially at the moment. Okay, 2027, police INEC moves against early campaigns. And riders to that. PDP ADC accuses APC of violating rules, call for penalties. And let's see, Inspector General of Police vows to enforce, the laws as it concerns no campaign at the moment. APC denies campaigning, says Tinubu party respect rule of law, and NMPP urges caution. But I'll tell you, don't be cautious, but just get more of that story on page 2, and you read up all that seems to be. But let's quickly take some other stories at the topmost side of the Punch. And Yobe holds mass burial as bandits killed 84. And that very disturbing story you can get on page 14. Reps drill Edun Bagudu over 2024-2025 budget delays. It's another major one on page 22. And still talking about the economy, federal government racks in 600 billion naira VAT from Facebook and others. Now I know where the money seems to be going and the data. But anyway, just get more of that story on page 23 of the Punch newspaper. What's exciting to many, and I know a whole lot of mummies will be happy, Tinubu orders fresh push to crash food prices. And I just hope that comes to be. So at least we can have more gari and rice on our tables. But let's see if we take some other leading stories beneath the picture of the day. EFCC quizzes ex-NNPC Group Managing Director, Kyari, over refinery contract. He's also screaming it out loud on page 14. Police arrest Obi of Lagos fuel installation. And well, anyway, this is the first time we're hearing of Obi of Lagos. But then we get more of that story on page 2. Our terror attack suspect loses bail bid. And well, many will say it's a cherry news on page 3. But what's also right there is, well, Tinubu, Macron had lunch amid France political tension. And, you can read up that story also on the Punch newspaper. And page 3 has that story. But, well, it's the picture of the day. And you can see the protest being handled there. We do know a new prime minister would soon be appointed by Macron and to take over the one that just resigned. But anyway, we're not resigning with the paper. We're done with the Punch. Let's see the next paper for review, as I will try to make sense of all the papers we have. Well, let the Guardian guide us through with the next paper. And leading story on the Guardian this morning. Federal government boasts 80% 2024 budget execution, cite procurement hurdles for 2025. And well, you can get more of that story on page 6. But remember, the National Assembly has invited the Finance Minister for more explanation. But let me see if we take some other stories. Tinubu orders a FEC committee to crash food price. It's a cherry one on. Nigeria records 15,000 suicide cases yearly. And that very disturbing story you can get on page 2. It may worsen as Gencos loses 66.26 billion. That's 1,866 megawatt to load rejection. And yet we are complaining that we do not have enough, but some of those powers are being rejected. But get more of that story on page 3. Obasanjo calls for lasting partnership as IATF closes with $48.3 billion United States dollars deal. And that's on page 5. Still talking about politics, INEC legitimized ADC leadership raises alarm over premature campaigns. And remember, we've been looking at this since the beginning on dialogue, need for governance and not for politicking or campaign. But I'll just tell you to get more of that story on page 6 of The Guardian. And let's see if we take the picture of the day, if that's still there. And yes, we have a lot. But let's just talk about the NASDAQ, as Dangote seems, cement, seems to be pulling a whole lot of weight. And indeed, the start of the bell yesterday of NASDAQ. But anyway, that's the much you can take from The Guardian. The next paper I would like to look at next will be This Day Today. And This Day newspaper seems to have a lot and screaming with politics as usual. ADC celebrates as INEC confirms David Mark, national chair, and is a major one right there. Yes, you can see that. ADC celebrates as INEC confirms David Mark, national chair, Agberesola, secretary. And riders to that, opposition party to Senate, Akpabio, Akpoti Uduaga suspension has elapsed, further obstruction abusive. Says Senate's treatment of female senator may further hinder women political participation. Accuses APC of stifling opposition in Lagos. 2027 electoral body stakeholders decry premature political campaigns. And the Yakubu is undermines INEC's ability to track campaign finance limits. And well, all of that are major riders to that story. But I implore you to read more of that story on page 9. But let's see if we take some other leading story at the top side of This Day Today. And well, we seem to have after another grid failure, NLC demands audit of power sector infrastructure. And well, you can see all of that. And well, it's about time we see how we can audit the power sector. But I'll just implore you to get more of that story on page 3 of This Day. But let's see if we take another major one, especially at the very top mass of This Day newspaper. Enugu wins 100 million Model Green State Award as Oluremi Tinubu unveils nationwide RHI Green Nigeria Challenge, and says the state is clean. And Mr. Ubao will keep pushing. And no surprise, Enugu is indeed a neat state, but you can just quickly get more of that story on page 9 of This Day newspaper. And the picture of the day is Mama Oyoyo, and you can see Oluremi Tinubu as she awards them 100 million for doing more of making it more of a green revolution right there in Enugu State and being the cleanest state in the country at the moment. But anyway, that's the much you can take from This Day. Let's quickly run to the last paper for review, and The Nation it is. And on The Nation this morning, well, it looks as if we have a whole lot of different headlines on the dailies, and it's always making it more interesting. On The Nation this morning, EFCC quizzes Kyari over spending on refineries and others. And riders to that, ex-GCO have nothing to hide. But anyway, like I said, if he has nothing to hide, go read the story up on page 2. And let's see if it's true. Let's see if we take some other leading stories right there at the top mass side of The Nation this morning. Dangote Cement pays 3.3 trillion dividends in 15 years. Wow, that's a whole lot, but you can get more of that on a business part of The Nation on page 7. Owo terror attack suspect trial begins October 19. And you can get more of that story on page 4 as judges reject bail request. No surprise, that very offense is unbailable. First Lady gives 100 million award to Enugu as Green Nigerian campaign on page 4. I will break second term jinx in Ekiti, Oyebanji declares. And you can get more of his declaration on page 6 also. The Tinubu Macron agree on stronger partnership is on page 2. And funny enough, a major picture of the day. An early campaign hitting up polity, says Atahiru Jega. And well, that story is on page 5. And well, hard questions, honest answer. I have done my part. The FCC must do theirs. When each of us does our duty without fear or favor, with honor, respect, and commitment, Nigeria moves on. I'm not saying that, but former general manager of the NNPC, Malam Kyari, seems to be saying that. But remember, he's under investigation at the moment on account of how much have been spent, especially in the reformulation of our refineries that is running into 7.2 billion United States dollars in the last 10 years. Well, anyway, that's the much you can take from the papers. And interestingly, all of them seem to have different headlines that I feel you need to fancy and get a grab of it. Like one that seems to be making the round today is the issue of politicking, especially with INEC coming out to say it's not yet time for campaigns taking place. And a whole lot of Nigerians are indeed asking the question, like we've asked since the beginning of the week on Dialogue. Should governance take a back seat as politicking continues among our politicians, or should governance be restored and less campaign, knowing that the basic rules from INEC is when the guideline, especially the timetable for the elections are out, that's when parties need to campaign. But as it stands at the moment, governance should be the major. Another major talking point, especially on the front pages of the dailies, is also the issue of power. We know the national grid again has collapsed, and if you take your mind back, we'll have such collapse. Alone last year, we had about 15 of such collapse, and this year, we're also having a lot of that also as it concerns national grid. And well, it's really, really funny that many Nigerians are paying a whole lot as the electricity bill, but getting little or nothing with the national grid collapsing. And just like it stated in one of the dailies, Guardian to be precise, it looks as if there's always overload and issues are indeed causing a whole lot of. Well, yeah, those are the major headlines on the dailies. And yes, I will try and see how we can. I'll just implore you to read more of that. And when you do, you get yourself abreast with a whole lot of things that's happening. But for us now, we'll try and see if we'll go on a break. And when we come back, you definitely know Dialogue will be next as we look at regional urban planning and how Nigerians can get it right so we do not put ourselves in a whole lot of problem, especially as it concerns flooding and a whole lot. Let's go on a break.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor AD.
Girl Ninyola.
My name is my wife, and just celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV. Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere or I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Bible Church, bigger, stronger, and bolder.
The second fear I want to talk about is the fear that you may have that somebody else is better than you, or that somebody else will be better than you. Yeah. It's a fear. It's a fear that comes out of complex. You fear. And this fear, Stanley, you know what it does? It produces envy and jealousy. When you are afraid that somebody is going to be better than you, or somebody is better than you, the next thing that happens, that fear will transform into envy and jealousy. Songs of Solomon chapter 8 verse 6. Within that verse, I have used it many times. It says that jealousy is as wicked as the grave. Because jealousy will transform into anger. When people are jealous of you, after a while, they become angry with you. Be careful. When anger comes, eventually anger becomes murder. Yeah. The anger transforms into murder. It could be physical murder, it could be spiritual. It could be environmental murder. In the sense that you start destroying somebody who did you nothing because you are just afraid that the person is better than you or the person will be better than you. Look, what I'm telling you is the truth. I've been in this world for a while and I know what happens to people. Some of you are listening to me. Some of you have this problem in you. Some of you, there are people who are pursuing you and you don't even know they are pursuing you. Because they are looking at you and they feel you are better. And it is even possible that you are actually not better. Did you see? But they just have this feeling that you are better. Some just have the feeling that this one is going to be better. So they go after you. They start talking rubbish. They open their mouth and they talk. They castigate you. They malign you. They spoil you. Sometimes they spoil what you are doing. It begins with a kind of fear. That the fear say you go better past them. Yes. Next week I will come to that. They're afraid. They see you as a threat. Yes. They look for ways to attack you, to pull you down. They begin to go around talking evil. What do you think happened to Cain and Abel? Do you think the problem of Cain and Abel began with offering? No. The thing had been on ground. The thing started with the fear that Cain had. Do you know the meaning of Cain? Possessed. Yes. That's the meaning. Cain means possessed. So the problem had been on ground. Cain had this fear that Abel will do better than him. He was already scheming. Then the offering thing came. Now that one spoiled everything. So in his mind, he said, "I'm not come." That is why when you read verse 6, you will see God asked Cain. He said, "Why are you angry?" Sorry. You know, say, "Why are you angry?" And when some of these people are angry, you will not know. They are smiling, but they are angry. They are laughing, but they are angry. They shake your hand, but they are angry. They hug you, but they are angry. Anyone that is actually against you, that is pretending to be with you, I speak against them. I stop them by the Spirit of God. I overturn them by the power of God. I come against them by the power of God. In the name that is above every other name. Let them go and leave you alone. Let them eat the dust and leave you alone. Let them eat the dust and leave you alone. If you believe me, let me hear your amen like fire. They go from native doctor to native doctor. Then they go church. Oh. Do you know? Somebody sent a video to me. Probably about, I don't know, almost a year ago. I don't know. I don't know if anybody saw this video. Look, I have seen some things that shocked me, but this one shocked my bones. Two friends were walking in a place where they make block. Block. They were not the people making the block. They were just laborers. Stay with me. Their job was to carry the block from where they made them to a place where it is arranged. Are you with me? Are you sure you are with me? Please stay with me. Stay with me. I beg you. I was shocked. Listen. Not knowing that one of them was actually angry with his friend. But they were friends. I saw in the video, they didn't see, this man didn't know that there was a CCTV in the place. He was laughing with him, joking with him. After they have carried block for a while, and his friend was not looking, he carried one block and broke his head. And the man died on the spot. He killed him. The CCTV recorded it. That is how they found out.
Welcome to the headquarters of Word of Life Bible Church, the International Gospel Center, a place of wonder, a place of grace, a place of favor, a place of greatness, a place of solution, and a place of God's glory. A family to belong. We don't only care about your soul, we care about your total well-being. We urge you to be a part of this glorious, heaven-bound, blessing on earth family of Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
And the Bible says in verse 8, they were in the field talking, chatting. The Bible doesn't tell us what Cain used. But it's possible he just got something, hit him on the head, and killed him. They're not going to kill you. Whether physically or spiritually. Anybody who is going from place to place because of you. Everybody say fire. Shout it, say fire. I can't hear you shout it, say fire. Shout it, say fire. Shout it, say fire. Shout it, say fire. Wherever they go, may the fire of God roast them. I said, wherever they go, may the fire of God roast them. I say it again, may the fire of God roast them. One more time, may the fire of God roast them. In the name of Jesus, may the fire of God roast them. If you believe me, let me hear your amen like fire. Randa kepo sote kabarisada baradamanda seke borodoboso radakande base rakoboto sete redeko pobro sote de mama. Jesus. Jesus. Africa lọ́rùn dìde ìjà o. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Ọ̀lẹ ní mímẹ́ máa lágbára ìjà o. Africa lọ́rùn dìde ìjà o. Aṣáájú òkun lálọ, akẹ́yìn òkun láàbọ̀. Bá mi ò wọ ṣòkòtò kẹ̀mbẹ̀ rẹ̀ bí ìjà. Asua telebariata, Jesus arake badiendo, Jesus yante ke baladaba de ke bosan. Wherever they enter, they will not come out of that place. They will not come out. A minimum so, they will not come out. Where they enter because of you, they will not come out of that place. I lock them inside that place. Let that place kill them inside there. Quickly, if you look at second Samuel chapter 20, verse 9 and 10, you see Joab, the captain of David's army. Wow. There was another man called Amasa. David sent Amasa to gather Israel. But he didn't come back on time. Joab was angry. Not because he didn't come back on time, but because he was afraid that David will use him to take his place. Yeah. So he called his brother. But do you know that Amasa was his cousin? Yeah. Do your study. It's not there in the Bible, but do studies of, you will see. They were cousins. So look at verse 9.
And Joab said to Amasa, art thou in health?
My brother.
My brother?
Wait, just wait. My brother. No, sir. But they were actually related. Amasa, Mumu, with an open heart. Go ahead and finish it. What is this now?
And Joab took Amasa by the beard with the right hand to kiss him.
To kiss him. The tradition was, if you love somebody, you take them like this and you kiss their cheek. Sometimes they kiss twice, this side, this side. So he drew him with one hand. But in verse 10, Amasa did not know that Joab had a sword in the other hand. So as he drew him close, as if he want to kiss him, yeah. The Bible said he struck him in the 5th rib. Yeah. And his intestines came out. He killed him. Can you imagine? If it was a face-to-face fight, he would not have been able to. But the man was simple, with an open mind. He said, this is my brother. We live in a wicked world.
Oh yeah, come and it's before you go on a journey with anybody, know who you walk out with. They are killers within. They are killers outside. Watch who you walk with. The world is difficult. Kosibi faratio, komasibi faratio. Odo jiji laye o, kima bodolo. There's nowhere you can rely on. There's no one you can depend on. This world is a very deep sea. God, not allow me drown for inside this sea. Ah!
Oh no, no. You will not drown in the sea of life. I said you will not drown in the sea of life. Do you know that the wickedness I'm talking about is even in young people in their school? In school. They kill each other for school. Even primary school, secondary school, university, then another one.
Omi tó ṣe àbò lórí ẹja, òun ló padà tó sí ẹja jìnnà. Ilẹ̀ tó fúrúgbìn fọ́mọ aráyé, òun ló padà tó gbọ́mọ ènìyàn mi o. Ayé tilẹ̀ o, ìrírí ayé ni mo sọ. O, ìrírí ayé ni mo sọ o. Kò má sí o. Kò sí bí farati láyé o. Ọlọ́run ni mo gbẹ́kẹ̀lé o. Ayé tilẹ̀. The water when fish they swim inside, they cook fish o. The earth when they release fruit for us to eat, now that same ground they swallow person. This world is now a difficult world.
God did not create it like that. It is man that spoiled it. And the root is they are afraid that you will be better than them. Or they are afraid you are already better than them.
Word of Life Bible Church. Bigger, stronger, and bolder.
I am SP Dafe Bright and this is Delta State Police Command. Today we'll be treating and addressing an issue that's different from what we've been doing before. Not parading suspect this time, but bringing to you a very important information. Do we know that over 85% of Nigerians do password their phones, whether it's Android phones or iPhones? There's always a password. But how come when we lose our phones, by the time we go to retrieve our lines, we go to our bank to check our bank statement, we discover that these people who collected these phones must have siphoned the phones. Now, there are times the people who steal these phones, it is not your phone that they actually need. What they need is your SIM card. Now, how does the SIM card become useful to them? Not just any SIM card, but a SIM card that is linked to your bank account, the one that you usually use to receive SMS alerts. That is what they need. Now, by the time they collect your phone, steal your phone, rob you of your phone, what they do is that they remove this SIM card from your phone and insert it on another phone. So your phone does not really need to power on. They don't even need you to give them your phone password. They don't even need your ATM password. The moment they have access to your SIM card, they can do anything they want to do with your bank account, because all they need is to generate an OTP, and the message, the OTP that is called one-time password, will be sent to that your SIM card, and with that they can do anything they want to do with your account. That is why people lose millions of their life savings simply because they lost their phone. By the side of this video, we'll be doing an illustration. You will see an illustration that talks on how you can password your SIM card. Now, the topic that we are here to discuss, passwording of SIM card. When you get a phone, pick that your phone now. See how you can password your SIM card. If you password your SIM card, by the time for any reason, your phone gets to the wrong hand, even if they remove your SIM card and insert on another phone, the first thing that you will get is a prompt that you should enter your SIM PIN. The moment they cannot get the SIM PIN, they cannot use your SIM card for anything. After a trial of 3, the POC prompt will come because the SIM card will be blocked, and you can only unblock that SIM card when you have the POC number. Some of us don't have our SIM pack, because on the SIM pack it is written there the SIM PIN and the POC number. But because some of us don't have our SIM pack, I would advise you to quickly locate the nearest office of your service provider, be it Airtel, Globalcom or MTN. Approach them and request for your POC number. Once you've gotten your POC number, you follow these instructions and ensure that you password your SIM PIN. Your SIM PIN is very, very important. On my phone, for instance, once you turn off the phone and you turn it back on, you must enter your SIM PIN. If you cannot enter your SIM PIN, the SIM card will be useless. And I'm telling you, once they cannot have access to your SIM card, your money will be safely in the bank. They cannot have access to. There was a time I lost my phone, and it took me about 2 weeks to go to MTN office to retrieve my SIM card. Why did I wait 2 weeks? Because I knew I had a SIM PIN. I knew they would not have access to my bank account. I knew they cannot even use my SIM card for anything. Some of these people, when they steal phone, we'll be hoping that, we'll track the phone. Some of them don't even sell the phone. They will just condemn the phone and just get the SIM card to see if they can have your money. Please, they say a word is enough for the wise. It is very, very important. Don't see this video and just pass it by. Watch this video to the end. We're almost approaching the end of the video. Ensure that you take the lesson. Please password your SIM card. They say a stitch in time save 9. It's very, very important. Make haste when the sun shines. Not be to come. You don't have to start running and start saying, what do I do? What do I do? When you can prevent it. Let's not forget, prevention, they say, is better than cure. Thank you.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Now, one of the most prevalent natural disasters in Nigeria is the issue of perennial flooding. Now, some states are increasingly experiencing annual flooding during the rainy season. Increasing a link also is being made between increasing flooding incidents and the issue of climate change. Now, like some natural disaster, rainfall flooding can be controlled with proper planning and provision of necessary infrastructure. Nigerian flooding is mainly man-induced with poor urban planning practice and inadequate environmental infrastructure being contributing factors. If you still remember, in 2012, Nigeria experienced its worst flooding record in recent history, with total loss were put at about 16.9 billion United States dollars. The extent and nature of Nigerian flooding are much that the actual figure of displacement, loss, and fertility cannot be truly ascertained due to poor records and reporting. The Sustainable Development Goals also push that in 2030 more needs to be done as it concerns Nigeria's issue of flooding and what should indeed be done. In the case of Nigeria, flooding has a major impact on the country's development goals in relation to the social, economic, and environmental targets. But the question still remains, should proper planning not be done to ensure that even if we cannot control that of the national disaster, but at least we can in every way manage the issue of flooding and indeed address it with proper and good urban planning methods. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on Dialogue. We'll be looking at urban planning and a need for urgency as it concerns the issue of flooding being experienced by major cities in the country at the moment. And to truly help us talk about this is no other person but an environmentalist himself, and is the present secretary of the Nigerian Institute of Environment right here in Delta State. And I'm talking about Mr. Felix Udumadu. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers, and good morning. Thank you for having me.
I want us to just quickly go into the issue of discourse. And we're talking about the issue of urban planning and how that seems to be more of a problem. Just recently now, the Lagos State government seems to be taking the bull by the horn to see how they can also clear away shanties that are also a major contributing factor as it concerns the issue of flooding when they block those water channels. But let's come now to it. How much of a problem is this, that poor urban planning always have a direct or indirect way of increasing the issue of flooding in our major cities?
Okay, thank you very much. I would say when you look at the Nigerian sector, yes. Nigeria is actually blessed with a vast land, and then we are not that close to seas that prone to, that can cause flooding. What is actually causing flooding is poor planning, like you said. Okay. When you look at it very well, you will see that most of the buildings, because of lack of planning. Now let me come this way. The regional and urban planning, they are supposed to be in charge of allocating appropriate building at appropriate place in a way of conserving the environment and making sure there's a conservation and sustainability of environmental resources. But what is done these days is that the urban city, like those places you call shanty, they are actually overstretched of an urban area where people see that the urban environment is overpopulated, but they needed to be close. So they buy land from those places. Some of them, they don't even build a proper house. They use zinc and other materials to make those buildings. And in such a way, it is not actually regulated. Now, what we are supposed to do for you to first is for Nigeria to have a proper planning in place. Nigeria does not have a plan to, like planning cities and villages. Like if you go to the Western world, what the places we refer as villages, they are determined by the number of residents, not number of infrastructure. But in Nigeria, the places we refer to villages is as a lack of infrastructure. Are you seeing the difference now? So the issue, or where we are right now, if care is not taken, you will see that at the end of the day, we might even have more flooding crisis than what we are having right now, because the waterways are being blocked, as like I told you, as lack of or improper planning. So they build houses. Maybe they will say, okay, I have the money, I will feed the canal. I will feed this river, part of the river, I will reclaim. They will now call it reclamation. But that's not actually a way to reclaim a river. Naturally, that's not actually a way. So you are supposed to have a proper plan to build and have spaces for environmental conservations. Even in your house, if you want to build a house, you are supposed to design it in a way that you have environmental aspects, like a place where you can plant tree, flowers, shrubs, and even a playground. You understand? Those are what add beauties to those places. As it give you a nature, yes. You still have that natural feeling. You understand? But what we do now is that we concrete everywhere. And the problem is that, again, what we are seeing as a challenge for the environment is what people take as an increase of status. They see it as status. For example, if I'm able to reclaim a river and build, everybody will be hailing me and say, you're done, you know. So that gives me a sense that I've arrived so much that I now have the resources to claim a river. You understand?
Okay, now I'll need to bring you back to our discourse. And something you made mention is this reclamation. We can see that in many major cities, especially right here in Delta State, where many of these waterways or canals, as they are being called, are reclaimed by persons. Now, how really dangerous is that? And I know your organization works closely with the government. Don't they ask for ideas, advice on account of these, on how to manage these canals, rather than have them being filled and built upon? Don't they take advice from your organization? And these persons, don't they get the required attention from real experts on the need for them not to also put such buildings in these places?
Okay, our organization, the Nigerian Environmental Society, we advocate for the environment, and we are a non-governmental organization and non-profit making organization. So what we do, we normally approach government agencies and institutions to advise them, sometimes in writing, sometimes in courtesy visit. When we do those courtesy visits, our advocacy is on environmental conservation. You understand? So most times...
But when you see such poor regional planning, don't your organization bring these notices to the government agencies you're talking about?
Yes, we actually do. But the problem are the actors. Let me call them the actors in that area. Because most times, when you advise them, and then they look at it as if they needed a tangible, a substantial developmental project that people will hate them. You understand? So in that way, they might not consider the advice. Even people, the citizens, because of the lack of knowledge, they will not be able to advocate. What they're advocating for is clear this place, build road, build estate, build this, and that is what they want to see. You understand? So most times it's because of, let me use the word again, lack of awareness, both from the government aspect or from the citizenry. Because if you take it to government aspect, if government wants to implement this thing like I told you, if they said, okay, let's conserve this area, the citizenry will feel like they have not seen any tangible project that the government have done. So, and being that the Nigerian government always plan in short term, they plan according to the electionary cycles. So they don't, they want to see what they can do and finish in their own tenure before they proceed.
I will you to hold on, because I'm also a bit curious to know about the issue of planning. Now, in Delta State, it's more like a construction site at the moment, with bridges and roads being constructed. Now, these will definitely increase the commercial value of the city, especially we're talking about, let's take Warri for example. It will increase the commercial status of this very city, and in every way bring in more people to come and use this infrastructure. But my question is, when the government is having such major projects, don't they also liaise with your organization on the need of proper channeling of most of these waters to indeed fit in with the environment rather than having issues?
Okay, thank you very much. In this magnitude of projects, by law, they are supposed to conduct what they call EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment. So it is during that phase that you engage all stakeholders and you take all comments and advices. So you put those documents together so that when the project starts running, you follow through what is written in the environmental.
But do they also give you people a view of these very assessments?
That's what the thing is that most times when these assessments are done, most times the organizations like ours is not being carried along. You always, maybe when you want to raise dust, they will now tell you that the EIA has been done. Like I remember in one of our meetings, when we were asking whether EIA was actually done for the flyovers in the Afro and environs. And somebody said it has been done, but we're not invited officially, so that we can make our own input. So the truth is that it is during this avenue, when you are doing the environmental impact assessment, that everybody, both the stakeholders and we as an organization, we now contribute our own. But after that stage, because a contract has been signed, the scope of work, the engineering method and everything has been structured out already. You understand? So the contract will now be left between the government and the contractor. The contractor hold a duty to implement. So the only thing you do, if you by any means raise issues or objections, or you write petition that this thing are not being done well, they will see you as standing against the project that will benefit the people. You understand? So the proper thing to do in the first instance is at the planning stage. You understand? You reach all critical stakeholders, because if you do a proper EIA, you see that even this, as you call it, data state now is now a construction site, and it is also causing a lot of inconveniences. Now, what is embedded in EIA is to profile that, for example, apart from the environmental aspect, you look at the social aspect, you look at the transportation network. If I block from point A to point B, where is the escape route? There should be a point D. There should be a diversion, and it should be well stated. You understand? It should not be ambiguous. It should not be discovered by the commuter themselves. But it should be planned and communicated that because of this construction, we are blocking this point A to B. You are taking this direction, C point to F. So you take this diversion. You understand? But what they are doing now is just let's construct without adequate planning in place to ensure that it does not even cause inconveniences to the commuters and the citizenaries where they are trying to work for.
Okay, now let's still return to the issue of urban planning. All is about urban planning.
Yes.
And those bridges and roads are part of all of it together. Now let's come back to the issue of poor urban planning, which indeed many of our cities will be guilty of, especially as it concerns that. Now, let's come to the issue of drainages, because that's another major one. Undermining the waterways, like you said, is a major natural waterways for water to naturally flow and lead to different places. But now, most of these channels and waterways have been blocked. But let's come to our drainages. That is where the problem lies. Now, in road construction, especially in most cities in Nigeria, the need for drainage is barely seen. Some might even construct just one drainage and they leave the other side. Some will construct two, some will not even construct any. So for my own, we as Nigerians, we want to understand what is the proper way in the construction of the road. Should it have both side drainages? Should it have one? Is there any need for one? Let us truly understand this.
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, when you want to carry out a project like this, the impact assessment that I mentioned now have the topography of that area you want to construct. If it is, for example, a flood-prone area, then you are supposed to know, you look at the magnitude of the flood, the amount of water, you understand, that is likely to submerge. Then you calculate, you look at the appropriate drainage channel to it. You understand? That's how you are supposed to plan it. So you look at the topography, because it's not all roads that actually need drainage. Okay. You understand?
Okay,
it's only
let's really understand that, because that's where most Nigerians really are confused. Is it not all roads that need drainages? And if it's all road, should it be one or two? Let's really understand all
that. Yes, so like I said, it's not all road that need drainages. You understand? Some, because of the plain area, if that place is plain and there is no threat of water flooding, then
high volume of water.
High volume of water to cause flooding, then you don't need drainage. You just construct the road as normal. But if you look at the topography and said, okay, this place, when it rains, there's a heavy downpour, there will be accumulation of water, storming water somewhere. And this storming water, where did they go to? You understand? That's when you plan for drainage. Because in itself, when you don't plan for drainage, when you are sure that there are storming water in that place, you're also damaging the road itself. The infrastructure will not last. You understand? Because the frequency of dormant water, you understand, we wash away the asphalt of that you use in tying the road, and render the road unmotorable. You understand? So you are not only trying to conserve even the environment, but the infrastructure itself you are putting in place. That is when we talk about sustainability. Sustainability is not only using the natural resources so that the future, to solve your own problem, so that the future generation will also have access to the same and solve their own problem. But it's also sustaining infrastructures that you are put in place so that at least for some time, some decade, they don't have a need again to also use the resources for the same projects that you have already done. You understand? The important thing is that you look at the topography. It is the topography that determined whether it needs drainages, the sizes of the drainage, then the side of the drainage. Because you have to look at it. If the left wing have access to maybe a river, for instance, or a canal where you can channel the water to, then you do that drainage by that side. You understand? Then if you also want to maintain from maybe for the both side, that means you have to create a link where the one from the other side will enter the other side, then go to the same channel. You understand? Because most times, what you see that so many places we have drainages, but at the end of the day, there is still flooding.
Okay, now that brings me to my next question, because Nigerians are really curious. Let's really understand all that seems to be, especially as it concerns urban planning, and the need to have proper drainages and channels that can really take most of this water, knowing that Niger Delta is indeed full with heavy downpour and a riverine area. Now, it baffles a whole lot of us when we have different water canals. I want to rather use Warri as a case study.
Okay.
We have various rivers cut across, tributaries cut across the Niger Delta and Warri itself. But is it not a thing of surprise that some places are still being flooded? Can't these waters be channeled to the natural waterways for there to be an exit? Is it not something of bafflement that we are still being faced with flooding in a state that has big, reliable rivers or tributaries that can actually take this water? Why are we being faced with flooding in a state that has all of this?
Okay, thank you very much. Like what I said earlier, it is two things. Actually, is a lack of planning. You understand? It is actually lack of planning. If, for example, like if I want to develop a place, if I want to develop a property, you understand? Even me as a private citizen, I am supposed to ask myself, where are the waterways in this place? Where are the canals? Where are the rivers? Then I can also channel my own water. You understand, to there. But what citizen does most times, like I said, because of lack of awareness as well, some of them, they even as far as channeling their bedroom, even some of them, their toilets and whatever, they channel it to the drainages, so that as they use from their house, it goes straight to the drainages. You understand? That is a very bad practice. And that is because there is no much enforcement on developmental plans. You see, somebody will buy some square meters of land and build it to the brim, no space. There is no space for you to construct a sockaway pit. There's no even space for you to sink a borehole. You understand? So you see those people, they go to neighboring places to fetch water, and whatever they they use defecates and whatever domestic water they use, they channel it straight to the water.
Practice in Delta State?
It is actually common. Even the places, you'll be surprised when they mention some places that are supposed to be in quote the reservation areas or well-organized areas. If they tell you that these things are going on there, it will baffle you. You will ask yourself, how can this thing be happening in this type of environment? So I think the only thing I will link it actually to is that lack of awareness and poor environmental behavior, where we don't think of the environment, we think of our own comfortability. But you need the environment to be comfortable. If the environment is not conducive for you, there is no way you'll be comfortable. You are going to be prone to diseases and others. You understand? So you have to make sure the environment is comfortable. Then you as a person will now be comfortable.
Okay, now let's return back to the issue of urban planning and look at it. Now, in every avenue of urban planning, especially as concerns authorities, what should be the basic thing that should be looked out for by every government in every cases of either developing a new layout or even planning an existing city, but you want to improve on the infrastructure? What should be the critical things to pick and to ensure that everything falls in place? So at least the issue of flooding is in every way, if not eradicated, but minimized to the best. Okay, so sometimes government will come with urban renewal. Yes. Now, that slogan, urban renewal, was supposed to be actually a plan to regid the urban areas. You look at the population, you look at the structures in place, then you now plan properly. If there are places, like I always tell people, there is no harm in you saying, okay, this house you are staying is if you have acquired it properly according to law, is blocking the waterway. We will compensate you because after all, we're the one that issued the CFO in the first place. So you're talking about government?
Yes, I'm talking about government on its own part. Okay. So you can leave that place, and they will demolish that place and return it to the waterways that it takes. You understand? Those should be part of urban renewal. Urban renewal should not be a matter of painting houses. You understand that we are painting houses, then you are constructing flyovers and roads. No, it should be more than that. You should be looking at both social aspects. And don't also forget that these rivers, no matter how you are looking at it, these estuaries you are looking at, they have spiritual connotations. You understand? So when you go through environmental education, they will tell you that environmental education, for you to be responsible to the environment, there must be that connectivity. There must be that sense of place. Yes. There must be youth efficacy, that is youth efficiency. Yeah. You understand? So all these things must be in place for me to think of conserving the environment. If I am not efficient, how will I think of the environment? You understand? So these are what the government on its own, as a part of urban renewal plan, they should put all these things in place. Then advocacy, both human capital development, all these things have to be a plan so that at the end, once you implement them, it will touch all strata. It will affect both our social and economic life, both, like I mentioned earlier, both spiritual. Because those people that have connectivity to the rivers, by the time you cut them off, without their own volition, you cut them off, then they have a means or they have a way of thinking that you have neglected them, and they want to see the state or the society as an enemy to their own belief and structures. You understand? So you have to put these things in place.
Well, I'm a bit surprised you're talking about spirituality,
yes,
the issue of environment. And I'm not surprised we're seeing most of these rivers having people worship them as deities.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll not go to the spiritual angle of it, but we'll rather stick with the natural and physical part of it. Now, another major one I want us to talk about is the issue of borehole. Okay. Now, there's this recent survey and also information reaching that sometimes most of the siting of more boreholes will create tremor and indeed earthquake if not properly being checked. Now, many Nigerians are a bit scared on that account. And we know government is trying to also see how they can regulate the issue of borehole being sunk in different places. So let's understand, how is the siting or the putting of borehole really that dangerous as it concerns the environment? Let's really understand.
Okay, before I come to Nigeria as a whole, let me look at other developing nations. What they do, if you go to places like Canada and some other countries, even Brazil, you see that they have a central water system. They have a supply central water system, just like the way we know, like we normally call them NEPA. Yes. They cut off your light. Those people also cut off your water when you don't pay the appropriate bills. You understand? Now, why did they do that? They have a central to coordinate the drilling. Okay, so when you drill, most times when you drill, you know we have two types of water. You have the table water, and then you have the aquifer. The aquifer is below porous rocks and gravels underneath the ground. Why the table water? They are the point where water is saturating the soil. You understand? The water saturated the soil, so you can also get water, clean water from the same source. Are you getting it? Yeah. So when you look at it, when you start, for example, I dig a borehole here, then I penetrate into the aquifers by breaking those porous rocks, like they are porous already. That means they are fragile. I break into them. Somebody else does the same. Don't you think there will be a crack and it can shift down? You understand? So that is where the theory of they brought about that earthquake. So what I think should be done is...
So you feel it's a dangerous practice?
It's a dangerous practice. But the thing is that, you know, like in Nigeria, we always resort to self-help. Yes. We provide our own electricity, provide our own water. So that is the problem. If not, if government actually wants to regulate it, there should be a central borehole water system that you connect to households. You understand? If the system works properly, people will pay. You understand? Have you asked yourself question, why churches, when even the people, somebody that you see that is very poor can donate money to church? Because of the person's belief in the system, and the person have also think that if my money is not properly used, I can ask questions and I will demand an answer. You understand? So in most churches, especially the Orthodox churches, you see them, they practice this congregational pattern. For example, like in Baptist now, any money you want to spend from Baptist church is agreed, even if they want to buy me a private jet. All of us will have agreed that I want the private jet, I should be bought the private jet. You understand? So if the government also utilize resources, use it appropriately, it will not be difficult for citizens to pay.
Now, there's this reason, and there's this also belief that government is thinking of regulating the issues of boreholes and how you can site them.
Yes.
But do you see that also helping to reduce this? Or are we going to a different route of extortion and all of that? And will Nigerians even see a need for them not to site boreholes in their different residential areas?
Thank you very much. Like I said, if, you know, most times we take mercy after death, you understand? But not hope. Hope is not totally lost. Government can still regulate it. But the question I will ask, if I have my own, no, I don't have borehole now. I have my own parcel of land that I've planned to develop, and I build my own house. And you're asking me not to sink, but which person's land will I sink my borehole? You understand? So there should be a system that if government come up that they want to regulate it, good and fine, but the one that will work most is a central water system. You understand? If they have that central water system, then connect to individual household, nobody will complain. But if you tell me that because my land is too small, I shouldn't sink a borehole, where will I get my water from? You understand? Would my neighbor allow me to sink in his own land? You understand? Because no matter how you are looking at it, Nigeria still operate that communal system of land ownership. You understand? So when it comes to when it comes to the government, then the land is now entrusted on the state governor. But that does not remove that there are family ownership, which those communal ownership, you understand, is still there. So if government, they are bringing policy, one thing, I think one of the challenges we're having in Nigeria is we bring, there are some laws that are not implementable. So we just bring them for bringing sake, but we know.
Would this law of regulation of borehole be applicable? Can it be emphasized? Can it be seen through by the government?
Now,
if I'm only saying if
yes,
there's another channel or better way of managing water, like
yes,
we talked about,
yes.
Can it be seen through by this very government?
If government want to see it, it is very easy. Okay. You understand? Like we said, build a central water system, or you can say, okay, so clauses of area. This is your own borehole. We connect to each individual house. You understand? That is only when it can work.
Now, in Abuja, 2 years ago, we had a major tremor. It was first time ever recorded in Abuja. And we even heard that it also was experienced in some other major middle belt and states.
Yes.
On account of maybe the ground shaking and all of that. Can these boreholes also end up causing such tremors?
With the way it is going now,
yes.
With the way it is going, you know, we are now looking at it in two aspects. Okay. If it continues that individuals continue to sink those boreholes, which they are always doing, then it will, in fact, it will be more than that.
More than tremor?
Yes, it will be more than tremor. Then if government said, okay, we want to avoid or want to avert this, let's take it on ourselves. You understand? Like I said, to have a central, it might not be that there must be one for the whole community because it's an urban area. You can say this cluster of, you're on this street, just like they have street transformers. You understand? They have street transformers. So you can say this street, this is your own water, source of water. And the problem again is that it's not about coming up with it. How is the sustainability of such plans? So there should be a long-term sustainability plan in place that this is how it will be followed from government to government, from government to government.
Okay, now, anyway, you're talking about a solution, but I'm only really concerned with the issue of, are we really going to experience so? Because that's the fears of many Nigerians with the issue of borehole. Are you being not a part of the government, yes, trying to scare Nigerians, but an environmentalist and somebody that deals with the issue of the soil?
Yes.
We are most likely going to see more tremors in the future ahead in Nigeria. Is that what you're saying?
Well, let me, like you said, I'm not devil's advocate of the no.
Okay,
no,
but
no,
in
no.
all honesty, if we continue in this route, are we going to get more tremors?
If we continue, like you said, in this route, we are likely. Don't forget, like I said, Nigeria is actually blessed. You understand? The only thing that threatens our environment is our own attitude and behaviors towards the environment. If not, environment on its own does not have any negative part to Nigerian as a country. You understand? So its activities. Then, when you look at something, like you said, you don't want me to be prophet of doom, but the aim of the prophet is to forewarn, to pre-warn, and to forewarn, so that that thing can be is preventable. So whatever that is preventable, you understand. When you say this is how the thing is, so just like when there were predictions of some communities and states to be flooded, yes, you understand. They were not being a prophet of doom. They were only informing people so that they would take the appropriate action and safeguard their lives and their property. You understand? So what we are doing from the environmental and scientific point of view is not actually to say this world will soon end. Though. No, you can still do something. You understand? You remember? Yes, you remember the last time I appeared there. I was giving an example of emitting CO2, and I told you if our forefathers have emitted 80%, and it's now remaining 20% for us to emit. You understand, to deplete the ozone layer. You're not going to blame it on your forefathers. So it's the same thing here now. If it has gone to this threatening stage. You understand? You are not going to blame people that, okay, you are the one that threatening it, because as it were, it does not have this pollutant pay principle like you tell company. Say, okay, you polluted the environment, pay for it. No, this one is now, the onus is now on us to say, okay, this is what is about coming. Let's avert it by doing A and B. Let's make sure that we don't further shake the curve, yes, the earth curve. Now we don't further shake it. So when we decide that let's not further shake it, then it's affected already. You understand? But if you say, okay, it's business as usual, you continue doing it, it will get to that stretching point when it cannot hold it anymore, then it gives way. You understand? So we are saying, don't allow it get to that stage when it will tell you, I am tired.
Do you see it affecting the Niger Delta? And the reason I'm asking, now, if you look at the north topography, especially we're talking about the middle belt and that of Abuja, that we have understood dry tremor happened. They are more like rocky lands.
Rocky land, yes.
But if you come to the Niger Delta, it's more swampy.
Yes.
Are we likely going to experience some disaster on account of drilling boreholes?
Though, like in Niger Delta, like you said, you know, Niger Delta is a kind of, let me use the word, river bank. Yeah. You understand why? In a kind of river bank. And don't also forget that when you are in the river shore, there must be some elements of soil. Yes. You understand? Yeah. So when you are having that soil and you continue to puncture it and the rest are water, what do you think will happen? You understand? So we should, though like in Niger Delta, the thing is that most times you don't even get to even 6 meters deep before you find water. So it might not get to that point when you have to penetrate even the table water. Most of the water, they don't even get to the table waters. You understand? Talk less of getting to the aquifer. So we are not totally safe. But like I give an example, if you have, if you don't do something about it, there should be this consciousness that we have to conserve this thing. Because when you look, this surface water, especially in Niger Delta, they are heavily polluted. So we don't have, they are not more drinkable for citizens. So hence they rely mainly on seeking those boreholes. So it might not get to a point that even when you are in the Bank River, you still need to get to the aquifer to get a clean water. You understand? So for us to avert our own power, we must make sure you stop the pollution. Okay. You stop pollution.
Now,
so
time is not a friend. We'll still need to go. But before we go, you raised up one important point that I want us to address. And the issue of how polluted our waters are, especially in the Niger Delta. How really polluted are they? And would you advise anybody, because we're still talking about the issue of overplanning and also the sinking of boreholes. Now, would you advise anybody to use or drink water at the surface level?
For me, looking at how it is, I myself, I don't drink from surface level. You understand? I don't drink from surface level. So for me, I might not advise you because I don't do it, because of the rate of pollution. So our water is actually polluted. The only way you can, the where it comes worse is that these are mangroves. Okay. You have some areas that have mangrove, yes, where they clear them off. Yeah. But you don't, some people, they will tell you our forefathers, they drank from the same water, yeah, and nothing happens to them. Don't forget there are some natural purifiers, like that mangrove you are seeing, have the capacity to absorb most of the, even chemical. When you test water that is very close to mangrove, the pH is always from 6.5 upward, which is recommended. When it's below, it becomes acidic. Yeah, you understand? So you not compare it to a place where that does not have the same mangrove system that help to purify. They will now say drink from it. By the time you test the pH, some of them is even like rainwater now. When you test rainwater pH, is most time is even below 4. It's 4.5 for, let me say below 5, from 4.5, which is acidic. You understand? So as it were by consumption is not good, according to the World Health Organization. Even the Minister of Environment is not good, is no more good for human consumption. You understand? And don't also forget